Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I am Channie, and today we're watching The Ridiculously Random Nature of the Gorilla by the one and only Casual Geographic. We're watching this live on twitch.tv/chanzonia, and yes, I look different. This is my new model. I hope you like it, and I hope you enjoy this reaction. Let's look at gorillas being unserious for 13 minutes straight.
Oh my god.
I love this video, it's too funny.
The greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was convincing the world that gorillas were something to be scared of. Whole time it's an ADHD Uber ape built like a practical joke. The Gorillini is the opposite of a sleeper build. They look like a flashback to being full-time horizontal, when really gorillas are unintentionally the most
Did he
unserious
just pinch his
animals
butt? Oh my god, he just pinched his butt.
to being full-time horizontal, when really gorillas are unintentionally the
Ain't
most
no way,
unserious animals on the planet. Almost every character trait that made them
He's
feared back in the day
spinning like a
actually makes them adorably
ballerina.
ridiculous when you have context. Like you've seen this picture, a gorilla beating its chest and maybe you next has to be one of the most intimidating sights in nature. The sound though. That was
It's like bubbles being popped. Is this one edited? I feel like I've heard it being a bit deeper than this. I don't remember it sounding so bubbly-esque, you know?
That was not edited. Whole time this display sounds like an assault on bubble wrap. King Kong had you misunderstood. Only in a movie would you see this and hear the God of Thunder. It's more like someone weaponizing bubble tea in a straw.
That's
Put
so
on
silly.
a blindfold and it's not threatening anybody but Bubble Buddy, because it sounds like his family flatlined by firing squad. It's fitting. It was widely believed that the peg pounding was considered an act of war, but newer research says that it might help gorillas avoid conflict altogether. In a study done by Edward Wright of the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany, it was found that the biggest, most brolic mountain gorillas actually produce the sounds with the lowest frequency. Something about larger air sacs in the larynx, but it's considered an honest signal of competitive ability, and between two prime apes, the one with the higher frequency flesh tap might just tap out of a fight before it happens. So the chest beating actually allows smaller gorillas to avoid a fight they'd almost certainly lose, and lets gorillas choose the best option, since bigger males tend to be the first choice for intercourse. That's gonna be painfully ironic in a minute, but we'll get to that bridge. The other thing that apparently terrified early explorers into introverts was their jaw work. Gorillas have top 5 most inappropriate dental work for their profession, right up there with camels and the gelada monkey. It's almost divine intervention that a lawnmower with limbs has a stronger bite force than lions, hyenas, and even a grizzly bear. And if you watch gorilla ASMR, you can literally see the muscles attached to the sagittal.
He be chewing though. Look at him go. What was he?
Grizzly bear. And if you watch gorilla ASMR, you can literally see the muscles attached
Is that a paprika? You're like, oh, this paprika bus.
to the sagittal crest. That crest is why the gorilla has a built-in mohawk. Lucky for literally everybody, gorillas only use those vice grip jaws to crush about 40 pounds of food a day. And you'll never be more grateful for their grocery list until you watch one peel a tree like a banana. All that food would mean nothing if they didn't also have a host of gut bacteria to help break it all down. But because all that bacterial work also produces gas, gorillas are almost in a perpetual state of flatulence. A troop of IBS apes break more.
Why does he pause? This video kills you. Why is he pausing? And it's like, oh.
Gorillas are almost in a perpetual state of flatulence.
When you're enjoying a dinner outside and then you remember, did I close the stove? Did I lock the door? You just pause mid doing something.
A troop of IBS apes break more wind than a bloated beached whale, and it's
oh my god, ew, what is that? Ew, 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 what is that? Whoa, 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 what?
Flatulence. A troop of IBS apes break more wind than a bloated beached whale, and it's so constant that researchers occasionally track traveling families through their southbound symphony. Scientists even used a gorilla-coded camera to gain insight into the secret society of this steroid simian, and what they found was that a well-fed family could blow a hole through the ozone layer. And now both
oh
ends,
my god, they're gassy.
gorilla
Also, that's the camera they were using. It's like a fake baby. It looks creepy
insight
as
into
hell.
the secret society.
Yeah, this looks like a camera. This is a very creepy looking gorilla toy baby. Oh my goodness.
This steroid simian, and what they found was that a well-fed family could blow a hole through the ozone layer. and out both ends. According to late gorilla expert Diane Fossey, gorillas burp as an act of goodwill and contentment. And you know, in some cultures, letting it out the attic is considered a compliment, but they might as well have gotten it from a knuckle-walking cow ape. On a less audibly offensive note, gorillas have also been recorded singing while they eat. Researchers refer to it as a chorus of appreciation. It's pretty cool, check it out.
That's interesting.
Basically living in their version of a giant gingerbread house has gorilla gangs singing out both ends. It's also a fact that they sing louder when eating their favorite foods like this banana tree stalk. And the funniest thing is, in the wild, the lead singer is actually the silverback. Science says he uses singing, or well, more like humming, to tell the group when it's time to stop and eat. And you know the law, when silverback speaks, everyone listens, and when he sings, it's time for fixings. But I'm not hungry. Okay, jeez. It makes sense. Few things are more dominant than the lead silverback male. You know he's the one calling all the shots and making all the decisions for a troop of up to and sometimes over 30. One could say that is the peak male form. And you remember that painfully ironic thing I promised? Well, it's about that time, but before you judge me, I'm just gonna remind you that this is strictly educational. But I would feel weird if I didn't say this, so if you're a child, an adult with a child, or an adult who thinks they're a child, skip to this timestamp right here. Or don't, I can't stop you, but don't let your parents blame me if you don't. Here's an ad while you consider the cost of curiosity.
Oh my god. Poor kid. Oh my god, the scared face, the scream, the cutoff,
can weigh in the neighborhood of 500 pounds, and when they're private stand at attention, they're about 3/4 short of 2 inches.
Oh
they don't just have the smallest waist.
Sorry, I was still laughing. I couldn't hear what he said. Oh my god, okay, let me quote. The way she yelled for her mom.
Fun fact about a silverback, they're the largest apes in the world, can weigh in the neighborhood of 500 pounds, and when their private stand at attention, they're about 3/4 short of 2 inches. They don't just have the smallest waist snake of any ape. It's widely believed gorillas have the smallest member of any mammal relative to body size.
King Kong ain't got on me.
I promise you he doesn't. In fact, if we scale for size, you have a better chance at Subway of seeing a foot long than from a Giga Kong. I swear I'm not just using this for richer jokes. There's actually a reason gorillas ended up hung like a hamster. When you look at how all the great apes measure up, you'll 1, end up on a list, incognito can't save you, but 2, you'll realize humans have more appendical advantages than just a long thumb.
Hey, how's it going?
Chimps, bonobos, and orangutans are roughly
scary.
about the same, but nature seemed to maliciously
Okay, mammal manhood meter. Bro. He couldn't use a better PR picture of orangutans. What is this sinister smile, brother? What is this look?
undercut gorillas in particular. Believe it or not, it's a direct reflection of how they live. Chimpanzees live in polyandrous packs where females can mate with multiple males, so there was evolutionary pressure for them to develop heavy huevos, since the more baby batter one can produce, the better chances one of his little swimmers wins the race to reality, which led to chimps having a massive man purse. I feel dirty. With humans, it's believed that earlier variants may have selected for the more groinally gifted, especially with humans being more bipedal. It'd probably be more of a factor. Eventually, that led to humans having more to flex under the waistband.
What are these? What is this footage? Casual geographic. What were you looking up to find this footage? Because I'm sensing a theme here. And it's I'm scared. I get a little jumpy. I'm like, what am I looking at? What? What is going on? Oh my god. How does he have all this footage that looks thematically similar? Interesting.
9mm. But with gorillas, it's different. They often live in harems where all the females in a group practice their multiplication tables with the one silverback, which means they didn't have the selective pressure of dealing with other males like chimps, or even the pressure of females having a choice like humans. Also, another theory is that a larger Nixon might have helped shovel out rival nectar. Again, something a back of silver doesn't have to worry about. It actually ties back to the chest beating. Being an absolute unit was already so much of a flex that evolution didn't have to juice their stats in other ways. But unfortunately, it means gorillas are built like an anti-steroid ad. But also consider this, silverbacks are the embodiment of what podcast bros call an alpha male.
Oh my god.
If humans were truly meant to take cues from them, forget Snickers, we'd be packing a Skittle. And with that, I am going to power wash my search history.
Yeah, I definitely should. Definitely should clear the search history, because those clips you use, sir, questionable. How did you obtain those? What did you look up? As well as the info and the pictures of the gorillas too. Interesting.
Silverbacks aren't the aggressive jocks that movies made them out to be. Turns out, they're a lot more involved in raising children than we thought. Research actually shows that if a gorilla were to lose its mother, as long as it still isn't living off her milk, they still have an equal shot at surviving. It's cause silverbacks don't give child support, they are the child support. It's even been proven that gorillas are more attracted to the sensitive, child-nurturing males and not really the aggressive bully types, which is probably why they put up with so much disrespect and why the father instinct might not just apply to gorillas. You might remember in 1986, a child fell into a gorilla enclosure, crazy how often that happens, and 400-pound Yumbo went over and tried to comfort the unconscious boy. Even when the boy came to and understandably panicked, instead of wilding out at the sudden disturbance, Yumbo calmly guided the other gorillas to a corner of the enclosure while first responders rescued the boy. Ironically, this was during a time the majority thought gorillas were bloodthirsty savages patrolling the underbrush of Africa. That literally could not have been further from the truth. In fact, it led to one of the most infuriating arguments I keep letting myself get baited into. Anytime someone brings up gorilla versus grizzly, all I can think is, you don't know gorillas, and you really don't know grizzlies. Forget bears, there's cases of leopards causing problems for a plus-size primate, with records finding past tense gorillas with puncture wounds around the head and neck. Now, leopard attacks on a full-grown male are rare. But if a 150-pound big cat is a genuine threat, a 10-foot, 900-pound revenant plot device would slaughter a roid monkey. And really, the more you think about it, the more disrespectful the question is. Y'all stay
I did learn, chat. I did learn. I did watch the Tier Zoo video of gorillas versus grizzly bears. I've learned bears are not to be messed with. Yes, fluffy. Yes, cuddly. Yes, friend-shaped. But no, they're strong. They're strong. Rip Harambe, man. Feels bad.
playing on a grizzly's body, especially since the gorilla himself wouldn't even want that smoke. For all that bulk, they definitely rather run away than run
Look
away.
at him,
Imagine thinking
so
they can match up with a
silly.
grizzly when gorillas can get humbled by a change in weather. And I just love that gorillas in captivity and in the wild have no problems playing in the water, but when it falls out the sky, it's suddenly unacceptable.
They're so disgusted by rain. Why are they like, oh my god, they're so disgusted by rain.
Thinking they can match up with a grizzly,
They're
when
like,
gorillas can get humbled by a
ooh.
change in weather. And I
Oh,
just
hell
love that gorillas
no.
in captivity and in the wild have no problems playing in the water, but when it falls out the sky, it's suddenly unacceptable.
The face he made. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you've seen that corgi that gave its owner a heart attack until she realized the only victim was a jar of jam. Turns out gorillas might have done the same to early explorers. One could only imagine seeing the blood-soaked fangs of this behemoth up close, only to realize gorilla grills come from the tannins in their diet, and for reference, tannins are the same ingredient that makes coffee bitter. And I think that's just gorillas in a nutshell. They look like they could do an absolute number on
Oh my
the
god,
human
this clip.
population, but I could not find one verified case of a gorilla murking a person. Attempts may have been made.
Gorilla goes on Dutch Zoo rampage. A 180-kilogram gorilla has escaped from its enclosure and run amok at the Rotterdam Zoo in the Netherlands. Witness reported seeing the gorilla, a dominant male, climb the enclosure's wall and apparently bite a woman, as well as injuring 3 other people. The zoo was evacuated as the gorilla was subdued by a sedative dart after it sought refuge inside a zoo building. The Diergaarde Bilsdorp Zoo, my bad, which was packed with visitors on a holiday weekend. Later reopened. Okay.
But if you watch this video, you know she basically begged
What zoos don't tell you. I should watch that one too.
for it. Plus, it's captivity. In the wild, you actively have to try to get gorilla gloves put on you. They genuinely give you every possible warning before they do. And even if you ignore the chest beat, the flashing teeth, and all the other signs a gorilla might give you, usually the most they'll ever do is Bluff Charge. Now, let me not be ridiculous. A gorilla could...
Whoa. Did that glass break?
A gorilla might give you, usually the most they'll ever do is Bluff Charge.
Bro, do you guys see that? It broke. Wait, am I tripping?
The flashing teeth, and all the other signs.
Yeah, we're gonna watch this in slow-mo. There's no way. Am I tripping? Bro, it did break. You could see. You see that? The 2 cracks? Yo, that's insane.
A gorilla could absolutely turn you into a human jigsaw puzzle. And for all I'm talking, a bluff charge from a gorilla would have my soul pump faking the higher power. But gorillas got stuck with the monster label, which means it distracted people from the fact that they're the most unserious animals on earth. What do I mean? Well, you remember what I said about silverbacks being fathers? Well, this is Hauko. Hauko is a proud father of 4 who loves nothing more than to play with his children. Problem is, sometimes his mate isn't too eager to let him rock with such a small baby, so in all of Hauko's infinite wisdom, he came up with a solution. He f***ing kidnapped her. Repeatedly. And yes, he did this with all his children, proving it really is a game to him. I'm sorry, you can't, you're telling me I'm supposed to be afraid of this? This is chronically unserious.
Oh my
But
goodness.
not unsurprising. Gorillas have a genuine sense of humor. Had Mary and Cooper have known, King Kong might have had a different storyline. Like Exhibit B, watch enough gorilla videos and you'll notice they have an interesting habit of grenading. As in, they'll throw something and immediately run away like Skeletor. Now you could argue it's a territorial, non-verbal way to tell humans to F off, but that goes against my narrative, so I'm gonna disregard it. Also, they've done it so many times exactly like this. It's like, how am I not supposed to see this as a prank? And if you need more proof, Koko, the sign language speaking gorilla, once tied her caretaker's shoelaces together and then signed the word chase. Now I know there's been a dispute as to whether Koko actually learned sign language or was just a master mimic that learned sign language the same way dogs learn words like sit. There's a much more nuanced conversation to be had on whether Koko was a genuine case of comprehension or just memorization and regurgitation. But that's not why I'm mentioning her here. It's because she was involved in one of the most absurd lawsuits I've ever read. In 2005, 3 female former staff members filed a lawsuit against the Gorilla Foundation because allegedly Koko was demanding that the workers flash her, and no, I do not mean with lights. According to Nancy Alperin and Kendrick Keller, program director Francine Patterson told them that Koko had an obsession of the mammary variety and pressured them to expose their upper halves to the gorilla, even implying that their jobs would be in danger.
Well, I'm confused. Wait, what? The story is confusing. What?
Members filed a lawsuit against the Gorilla Foundation because allegedly Koko was demanding that the workers flash her, and no,
Koko, the gorilla, was demanding the workers show her some boobs? Am I getting this correct? A gorilla was demanding to see some boobies?
I do not mean with lights. According to Nancy Alperin and Kendrick Keller, program director Francine Patterson told them that Koko
The gorilla demanded titties, and if you didn't, you would get fired.
Had an obsession of the mammary variety and pressured them to expose their upper halves to the gorilla, even implying that their job.
The history as such might date back to Koko's mother, who reportedly did not have enough breast milk to feed her. The suit in any case says that Peterson would interpret hand movements by Koko as a demand to see exposed human boobies. She warned Alperin and Keller that their employment with the foundation would suffer. The suit says if they did not indulge in Koko's... During at least 3 visits, the suit says Peterson communicated to Alperin that exposing one's boobies to Koko is a normal component to developing a personal bond with the gorilla. So the gorilla wants to see boobies, and the boss of the foundation is like, okay, you're a worker there, and my gorilla Koko wants to see boobies, so you better show her boobies, because that's important for our foundation and the research we do. Interesting. This is... So, Koko and the foundation is getting sued, or just Koko? Because, I mean, Koko's demanding it, but, like, Koko's a gorilla, like you... Now, if your boss is pressuring you to show boobs, that's a little different, but it's a gorilla, bro. Just like, what?
Jobs would be in danger if they refused. They refused. And some of the quotes that will come out of this suit.
One example, on at least 2 incidences in mid to late June 2004, Peterson intensely pressured Keller to expose herself to Koko while they were working outside where other employees could potentially view Keller's naked body. On one such occasion, Peterson said, Koko, you see my boobies. I'm gonna say boobies because I don't know. I see what the other word is, but I'm trying to think of like another word for it. Because I mean it's being censored, so I'm guessing YouTube doesn't like that word. I can't really think of a different word to use. So I'm gonna keep saying boobies all the time. You're probably bored with my boobies. You need to see new boobies. What the fuck? What the hell is wrong with this lady? You need to see new boobies. I will turn my back so Kendra can show you her boobies. Girl, why are you putting me in this? If you want to keep showing the gorilla your boobies, you might as well go do that. Why the hell do I gotta do that? What? Now you're giving the gorilla thoughts. Like, what? No. What is going on? What is happening? That's a suit against the gorilla, no? Or against the boss, no? Think? But I think in the beginning he did say against Koko, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my god, yo. Peterson is wilding. Peterson is on some freaky deaky shit. Like, this is wild.
Dude, are almost too ridiculous to be real. And apparently Koko did not discriminate, with one man recounting a time Koko went up to him and demanded to see his human headlights at a party, no less. He didn't even say
What?
time Koko went up to him and demanded to see his human headlights at a party, no less. He didn't even say no. He said later, and according to him, Peterson put an arm around him and basically hit him with the, "Do you really want to say?"
Cheer her up. Koko came up to the mesh between us and asked to see my boobies. It was embarrassing since other people were around, so I told her later. Then Penny put her hands on my shoulder and said, "Do you mean that? I'm just asking because Koko really needs all the support she can get right now." Yo, she's enabling this gorilla like crazy. You're creating a pervert gorilla. What the hell? Like, there's people around and you're like, yeah, just show yourself. Be naked. Yeah, because my gorilla wants it. What? Are you insane? Is this her? Is this the lady? The boss lady? Koko needs all the support she can get right. Support for what? For what? You guys are taking well care of her. Just not, like, I refuse to show her my boobies. And that's a problem? That's gonna, like, cause her, like, emotional distress? Are you serious? What is happening?
Say no to her.
Oh wait, I didn't finish reading. Hold on. The Gorilla Foundation said that Koko may make these requests, but that it does not ask caregivers to comply. Exactly. This seems to be a natural curiosity for a gorilla like Koko, and we don't censor her communication, we just observe and record it, the foundation wrote. No, but I mean, you're clearly enabling her to, because like you're kind of coercing your employees to show her. It does not ask the caregivers to comply. Yeah, because it's a gorilla asking me to show her some boobies. Like, like, what? Why am I gonna show her my boobies? Like, that is weird. That is weird, bro. That is really weird. That is really weird. Really weird. On top of it, the boss is telling me I'm gonna lose my job if I don't show her my boobies. Like, what? You're insane. You're actually insane. This is so bizarre. Years later, we'll find out that Koko was just someone in a suit that led things too far. Insane. Yeah, this foundation has to go.
Say no to
This is
her.
bizarre.
There were other complaints like unpaid overtime, dangerous work environment, them apparently storing gorilla urine in the same fridge they ate out of, but none as outrageous as a 350-pound bosom bandit. Especially when you find out Peterson would switch up majorly when big-time donors came around. What do I mean? Well, apparently whenever Koko would make one of her requests in front of a possible benefactor, Peterson would just say, "Oh, you know, nipple sounds like people." So what she's really saying is she wants to see more people. Yeah, they should have read the verdict right there.
And she's lying. She's manipulating. Nah, that is crazy. Yo, fire her, sue her, jail her. She's weird.
Who even lies like that? I don't think
This
that's how
is
sign language
weird.
works.
Oh my god, isn't this the lady that lied about being able to do sign
Yeah,
language
they should have read the verdict
at like
right
a
there.
police
Who even lies
conference?
like that? I don't.
And then they caught her because she was signing. Literally, she doesn't know how to do sign language. She was just doing whatever.
I think that's how sign language works. The case was settled at, of course, so I guess we'll never know, but to be fair, how would multiple people lie about something like that? It means gorillas are the only animals to be formally accused of harassment of the sensually explicit kind. But it also proves that gorillas are just like us. They can multitask and focus on two things at once. I mean, they only share 98% of our DNA, and for the loud minority that's gonna somehow take offense, or, you know, make it racist, because, you know, I read the comments. I challenge you to spend a day watching a gorilla and tell me it's not an impulsive human in a fursuit. Like, I bet half of y'all didn't even realize that's a gorilla walking in the background. Yeah, this was a pretty unserious video. For a mark.
Chat, can I get some rumpus in the chat? This is crazy. Oh my god. That is crazy. Let's get some rumpus in the chat because that's funny. That's funny.
I didn't even realize that's a gorilla walking in the background. Yeah, this was a pretty unserious video for a remarkably unserious
Oh
creature,
my
but the point wasn't
goodness.
really to Disney-fy a wild
Oh, whoa, okay, you're a bit too close. Yeah, a bit too close.
animal. That's arguably as bad as turning them into monsters. But there is so much more to gorillas than a fade with Godzilla or the US Army, and I kind of wanted to show that. Especially
Oh,
when you
he's
realize
sniffing
gorillas
us.
have been getting slaughtered for as long as
No.
we've known about them, for bushmeat, for trophies, pets, and sometimes just for the sport, so us calling them dangerous is kind of wild. But I get it. Talk is cheap when it's in front of a green screen. So if this video gets 200,000 likes, I will meet a gorilla in person. Somewhere. Or an orangutan, and that works too. But until then, drink water, hug your mother, never smile at a gorilla. Fun fact, clearing your throat sends a much better message. And I'ma see y'all.
Wait. I know about the no smiling part, but clearing the throat is better?
In the next one.
Showing local gorilla her reflection. It's like, let me see. She's looking.
She's looking like dead at it.
Oh. Cute. So cute. Clearing your throat sounds like a greeting thing they do. Oh, okay. So that was the ridiculously random nature of the gorilla. Very entertaining video. They are very unserious creatures. Every clip I've seen of a gorilla has been just peak comedy, bro. Like their expressions, the way they just throw things and run is hilarious. I knew they had strong like bite force, but I've never seen them like break through like a tree tree like trunk, like a tree, like they breaking apart a whole tree, biting through it. That was crazy. The sound of their beating, the chest beating, very hilarious. Sounds like bubbles, but apparently that's not even like in a threatening manner. So that's news to me. I thought I was brainwashed by the media, I guess, like he said, like they were depicting it as like some sort of like threatening sound, but it's not. It's just to de-escalate the situation rather. And they're not very confrontational at all, actually. Like they try to avoid conflict. The other footage was of when that one gorilla saved the little kid in 19 something, and it just waited until the little kid gained consciousness before just scurrying away and leading the other gorillas away from the kid. That was really, really nice, and it shows that they also have compassion and understanding. So I love that. I wish Harambe, rip Harambe. Oh my goodness, rip Harambe. Dark memories, guys, dark memories. That was a dark era, man. Crazy, crazy. What is up with parents not supervising their kids near gorilla enclosures and letting their kids fall in? Like, what is going on? Like, that's such like a common theme, it seems. Please, keep your kids close. Like, what is going on? Please. Another thing is they're scared of rain, or rather disgusted by rain in a sense. Like, they don't mind water, but rain is just like a no for them, it seems. It's so funny seeing them like run away from it. And oh my god, the Gorilla Foundation one. Weird as F. Very, very weird, bro. Did not like it. Yeah, I wonder what was I don't think he mentioned the results of that lawsuit, did he? But yeah, that's crazy. That's one crazy employer and foundation in general. If I was covered in fur, I'd probably hate rain too. But I mean, they swim and they like dip themselves in the like water, at least in the wilderness in the video he showed. So I don't think that's it. But maybe it's because like if they dip themselves, it's like they're willingly doing it, but when it's rain, like they don't really have control over their fur getting wet or not. So maybe you're onto something there. But yeah, really informative video, really enjoyable, very funny clips. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, YouTube!